So with the new Resident Evil 2 Remake finally out, we got to see and experience our epic encounter with the Super Tyrant, Mr. X. Seeing him in this final form in this new RE2 Remake was amazing, giving us one of the highlights that made this new Resident Evil 2 Remake an instant classic. Anyways, what is up you guys, this is DeVuH, and in this video we'll do a quick comparison of Mr. X's final form from the original Resident Evil 2 to his new iteration in this new RE2 Remakes, where we compare the process of how he mutates from his base form, his overall appearance and his final transformation, and the events that surround this portion of the game. We'll also delve into his overall in-game battle mechanics and compare this aspect to his previous iteration from the original Resident Evil 2. Alright, so starting off, one of the most prominent changes that they've done with this Tyrant is the events that surround the transformation into his final form. Because in the original Resident Evil 2, we saw Mr. X confront both Leon and Ada, or Sherry and Claire, where we see this Tyrant either lured into going over the edge when Claire threw a sample of the G-Virus, or when Ada shot Mr. X on the face several times, and he proceeded to fall over the railing due to the damage he just received. But regardless of which character we choose, in the end result of the character's encounter with Mr. X was that he would fall into the pool of lava in both scenes, which this will subsequently cause the Tyrant to mutate into his final form, where we see him make one of the most memorable entrances we've seen in Resident Evil 2. Seeing the distinct change of appearance from his base form to now he's finally released from his trenchcoat limiter and mutated with two enlarged claws and surrounded with flames throughout his body, where we compare the events that surround Mr. X's final transformation in this new RE2 Remake. Seeing his transformation when confronting Leon as he makes his final escape from the Umbrella secret lab, but instead of falling into the pit of lava that we saw him do in the original Resident Evil 2, in this version we see him take a lot of damage from the constant explosions that surround him as the Umbrella secret lab was self-destructing. But soon after we see Leon make his escape to a platform, after shaking off the Tyrant for a short while, we finally get to see Mr. X's final form in this new Resident Evil 2 Remake, where now we see the right side of his body surrounded in flames, showcasing his new mutated claw, with also his right side of his face visibly damaged and a distinct protrusion of his heart outside of his chest area, which kinda reminds me of the Tyrants from both Resident Evil 0 and Resident Evil 1. Anyways, back on topic. Here, let's delve into the in-game battle mechanics of both iterations of the Super Tyrant, where we see this new version of Mr. X take some pages from his previous Resident Evil 2's version, but at the same time showcasing some new attacks and attack patterns in this new RE2 Remake, from the way he can slash away at our players in close range, to him lunging forward in the air and smashing on the ground near our protagonist. To the way he does his instant kill move, where we see Mr. X give off a massive roar and proceed to sprint towards our character, dragging his massive claws on the floor and impale us in a gruesome way. Also, I love the added touch of the last moments of our character slowly fading away as we see this Tyrant slowly walking towards our downed character, just making us wonder what kind of horrifying things that are about to happen off screen. But luckily for us, there is a way to stop this Tyrant from doing his instant kill move, which was that we had to hit him with one of our more powerful weapons as soon as he roars, so that he can be staggered and stop his attack. Anyways, this overall instant kill move in the new remake reminds me of Mr. X's dashing attack that he performs in the original Resident Evil 2, but just lacks an instant kill factor. Overall, both attacks from the original version and in the new remake help this Tyrant cover the distance that we've made from him in a fast way, which means that we can't just stand idly by and shooting from afar. Anyways, another great aspect during this fight was the overall battle environment that we're put in, not giving us any hiding spots to take cover, but expansive enough to help us navigate our character away from this Tyrant's attacks. Because in this new remake, they put a little twist during the boss fight, because during a certain time in the encounter, we start to have rubble fall onto the platform, which is both a good and bad thing, because it can help mitigate Mr. X's instant kill move if we stand right behind it when he does his attack. But but the drawback is that our overall environment that we can work with becomes smaller, which we can't navigate like we used to unless if Mr. X breaks them with his attacks. The best example of this was when we see a large portion of the rubble cover almost a quarter of the battle arena, which causes us to be a little bit more up close with the Super Tyrant. Anyways, by the end of the fight, we get a surprise when we see a rocket launcher fall right in front of Leon, given to us by Ada from afar, which is a great last homage to the original RE2, as we get a quick glimpse of her on the side of the screen, calling it even between the two once partners.
Where did this come from?
Where we can compare how this ensues in the classic version, because here, we get to fight Mr. X's final form when we either play as Leon or Claire, but regardless of which character we choose, in the end, we get the infamous one-liner from both of our protagonists, as we see them ready to shoot at the Tyrant.
Game over. Lose, big guy.
In the end, we see this Tyrant literally blown into pieces, which was different than how this Super Tyrant meets its end in the new RE2 Remake, which was a quick and swift end to the Tyrant, without any one-liners or repeating sequences of the rocket launcher shot that we saw from the original Resident Evil 2. Anyways, with the overall boss encounter and the self-destruct timer in place, this confrontation with the Super Tyrant Mr. X was a great highlight for this new Resident Evil 2 remake, adding so much to the boss monster in terms of the events that ensued before, during, and end of the fight, but at the same time still paying homage to the original Resident Evil 2's incarnation, using that game as a foundation to make this epic final fight with the Tyrant so memorable. Anyways, what do you guys think overall about this new Super Tyrant, and how he compares to his older version? Please let me know in the comments section down below. I just love hearing other Resident Evil fans' insight about the other monsters in the series. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching my quick Super Tyrant comparison video, and as always, you guys have a great rest of your day, and this is Hey DeVuH signing out.